Yes, Brother Khani, you may please proceed. We are live now. Jazakallah khair.
Yes. Okay. So let us go ahead and we'll have a little bit of assessment today of what we have been learning. And then next we'll continue with the session. It'll only be 5 questions that I'll be asking. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen and the questions as well. Just give me a second. Yes. Meanwhile, anybody has any questions regarding what we did yesterday so that we can clarify with that thing before we start with our assessments and then continuing with our classes. Zubair, if anybody wants to ask any question, you can unmute them so that they can ask before I can continue with the assessment.
Hello.
Yes,
Sir, I want to know what is foundation object.
that we will be doing it now in this subject. We'll be doing it. After this assessment, we'll be
That is
doing
a
the,
field.
yes.
Wait, wait.
Okay, if you can let me know if my screen is visible. Walaikum assalam. Not yet. Okay.
succession data model, how to import and export,
It's visible now.
how the structure looks like, and what is BCUI, how we enable the BCUI, and what are the portlets available in.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
audible.
Yes. Just that someone asked me what is foundation of chain, what it is. What we will do is we will go through this, okay, and then we'll have assessment because it's already a little bit late for that. We will finish this, and then inshallah we'll have an assessment, okay, so that you can first understand what this is, how it is, and then we'll go for assessment, okay. Once these videos are over, I'll share you the complete videos which are there so that you can go through as well, and even question answers I will give it in the WhatsApp so that you can answer and you can send it as well, okay. So first let's listen to this as to what that does and how it does, then we'll go and move forward to the next session.
Person and employment information, etc. Okay, so
Is the sound clear to everyone? Everybody can is everyone able to hear this?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very
yes.
perfect.
Yes, it's clear.
But start from the beginning, it's better.
Okay.
Today we will actually cover the succession data model. So yesterday we have actually covered the topics like, okay, the succession data model, how to import and export, how the structure looks like, and what is BCUI, how we enable the BCUI, and what are the portlets available in person and employment information, etc. Okay, so today we will actually cover the succession data model, the structure, basically the structure of um, data model, and each fields or related to that, fields, associations, the attributes, everything we will actually cover in this today's session. Okay, so I just show you this particular screenshot. So we have seen
The images are a little bit blur, okay, so you will not be able to clearly see what it is, but don't worry, once this you get all these videos and everything, you will be able to understand. Just understand what they're saying, then we'll go through it once again, okay.
yesterday I have told you HRIS element. Yesterday we were seeing the personal information. So HRIS element was personal info. So this is actually a screenshot which I have taken for job information. So here you can see HRIS element is job info, and the label it is there, and you can see some rules and some fields. So this is, if you can see this field, criteria, destination, business unit. This is actually, we call it as an association. And then you can actually also see the visibility and all, basically the field property. So if you look at this particular as a whole, so an element will be something which is starting with XXX element. So this is, here we are talking about HRIS element. So this whole is an element. Okay, so inside the element, what will be there? And a field. So in element only, we actually add the fields. We can add the fields. We can add the associations, etc. And in the field, how the field will display? Field will actually display like with a hashtag HRIS field and the label and the, I think that ID I have removed it. So that ID, so yeah, the ID label, the translations, etc. Actually, we can see it in the HRIS field. So in the field, what we can actually configure inside that field, we can configure the attributes. That is either the visibility, either that field should be configured as a mandatory or not. PII, that means whether that the field should be masked. If that is a sensitive data, we actually masked some fields. So, and we can also configure whether that field is a pick list or any other type of field, okay, or a string. So I will show it in the system. So this is what I was actually showing. HRIS element is job info. So here we have came to BCUI and we have selected the job info. So here, whatever fields we are seeing, we can see the same thing in the data model also. So here in the job info, you can actually see something called section. Okay. So what is this section? Section, it's like basically in order to group some kind of fields, we can actually use the section. But keep in mind, this particular section is only specific to job information. If you look at any other HRIS element, maybe personal info, you cannot see that section here. Okay, so this is only available for job info. So how the section actually will display in people profile? Okay, we'll just see an example. Okay, so if I go to one employee and if I go to employment section of an employee, so this job so here you can see job information, all the fields, whatever we have configured, it is coming in job information. And there are also some time of related fields. So this is actually all grouped together under one section, right? So if you look at in the business configuration, all the time of related are grouped under this section, time information. Okay, and also the organizational information, all these position information, organizational information, position information like position, time and position, etc. This is grouped in the position information. So you can see this is grouped in position information of section, and the other company, business unit, division, etc. that is actually grouped in organization information. So this is actually the purpose of section. So this is actually a standard configuration, so that we cannot actually modify any of the section. Okay, we cannot, maybe customer would ask if we can increase or if we can add any custom section or something. So currently that is not supported. We cannot add it. This is whatever we have, we can use that. Okay, so here so this is the section I was talking, section, HRIS section, and we are configuring. This is in the data model. So here we can actually see some rules in the element. We have like some rule configured as on save, and other rules I have not added. Okay, so there are some rules configured. So basically, why we configure business rule in the system, it's to suppose if we have some business requirement, okay, so in order to achieve some business requirement, we are creating or configuring the business rule in the system. Okay, I'll show you an example. So in BCUI, where those rules will actually show up. So here you can see trigger rules. So we can actually configure it as a own save on, and you will actually learn more about all these things in future sessions. So here also we can actually configure the rule, and also under each field we can add the rule. So under each rule it will be kind of an on change rule. Okay, so let me just give you an example for a business requirement. Suppose I have a business requirement in my personal information, like okay, so you can see here marital status and marital status since field. So that since is basically the married date. Okay, so I have a requirement, or a customer is having a requirement saying if I choose marital status as married, then this field should be mandatory. They should actually mandatorily edit this field. Okay, so how I can achieve that? We can achieve via a business rule. So suppose if I'm choosing married as a status, see, you can see this has came as mandatory. So if I save it without that field, it will actually show a validation error. Okay. So, and if I choose any other field, maybe single, it should not be mandatory. And we can actually, depends on the customer requirements. Maybe one customer would say, if I choose single, this field itself should not be there. We should actually hide that field. So that is also possible. So it depends on the business requirement. We can actually configure this via a business rule. So I'll show you that that business rule, whatever I've configured. It's a very simple rule. So it's a very simple rule, like marital status value. If this is married, then this required field is true. Otherwise, it's false. Okay. And then, okay. So here under business unit, can you see a field criteria, destination field value business unit? What this is configured under business unit. So what is this particular thing? We call this as an association. Okay. So why we require an association? So association is basically to link the foundation objects or an MDF objects. So which will help us to filter child field based on a parent field. Okay. So I don't know you understood it clearly. Okay. So I'll show it in the BCUI.
For an example, like if we select the country, what all the states available there, like that you are saying?
So here also you can actually see on
Sorry, is someone asking any question? Hello?
Actually, I just wanted a clarification, like parent-child relationship means from one drop-down list, if we select a country, and in other drop-down, based on the selected country, what all the states available in that country, we are getting in another drop-down. That kind of relationship is
Yes, that is the relationship. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
in the details under here, you can actually see what all have for this field. Say for example, if it is displaying as TR means there are some rules configured for this field, trigger rules you can see. And if it is some SY and TR, there is some sync mapping available for this field. Plus there are some rules. And also this field, if I'm talking about this department object, so there is some field criteria maintained. So that means there is some association between some another object. Okay, so if I just click on this department, so here you can see I have configured an association. That means I have configured an association from department to division. Okay, so what basically the purpose of the association is, okay, so like I told what why we are using association, it's like in order to filter the field, that is filter the child field based on a parent field. So for me, department is a child object for me, and the division is actually the parent object for me. So based on the, I have here in this page, I have select already the division is executive office and the associated departments are coming up. Okay, suppose if I choose any other, maybe finance, you can see this is actually gone because this particular leadership team was not associated with finance. So whatever division which is associated with, sorry, whatever department which are associated with this division, only those will be, those can be chosen from here. And if I choose anything else, maybe sales, I will get all the options, all the departments which are related to this division sales. So that is actually the purpose of an association in the system. So here you can see I have told there is SY means sync mapping. So if I choose this, I have actually something I have done for this particular field. So that is, I have created some custom field and I have actually created a sync mapping between some custom field. So what is this HRIS sync or HRIS sync mapping? Okay, so basically an HRIS sync, it's like it is used to sync the data between EC to EP. Okay, so EC is Employee Central. What is EP? Any idea?
Employee profile.
Employee profile.
Yeah. So EP is employee profile. So why we actually use the sync? It's like this HRIS sync will actually helps to consume the EC data by other SuccessFactors modules. Say for example, we have different SuccessFactors modules, maybe LMS, that is actually the learning management system, maybe PMGM, that is performance management system. Suppose our new user is getting hired in the system. Okay, and we have all the data in Employee Central. We have filled in all the data here and we have all the data here. Okay, so in other SuccessFactors modules also, like maybe LMS or PMGM, we have to have the account for this user, correct? Then only they will be able to maybe to add their goals in the performance management system or completed some mandatory trainings in via LMS system. So those kind of things, in order to perform those kind of things, they should have some access or their data has to be created in those systems. So where they will get the data? From Employee Central system. So in order to get the data, so we actually need to sync the data from Employee Central to EP or the employee profile. You must have seen the UDF import or something, correct? So the HRIS sync is actually used to sync the data from EC to EP so that other modules can actually pick the data from EP and they can use for their account creation or update or whatever. And now we will actually talk about the properties of a field. Okay. Okay. If I just look at this position, if I took, okay, I'll take a simple field, personal info. Okay. So here I can actually, in the BCUI or in the data model, I can actually define the properties of that field. What should be the name of that field and the translations, and whether that field should be mandatory, label, and what kind of field this is. So here you can see this field is a string field. Okay, so first thing, actually we can enter anything. It's an open text kind of. Okay, and then if some field should be of pick list, then we should actually add that pick list here. I'll show you. And whether that visibility, whether that visibility should be editable or view, and masked. So masked is something like, okay, if I am showing one field, okay, so the gender field I have actually kept it as masked. So you can see it is showing as XXXX. So if I click on show, this will actually show up this, show that value, exact value. So basically it's like in order to hide some of the sensitive information, like maybe date of birth or the national ID or any maybe salary or whatever. So we can actually use this field property, the mask field. So what we need to do, what we have to do is masked, we have to select it as Yes. Okay. So then, okay. So I was talking, this field is actually a type of field is string field. So similarly, we have different kinds of field in the system. Like one, we can actually see it as, we can configure a string field, or we can use date, or we can use double, like for double and all, it'll be numeric. So for maybe for a compensation related information and all, if we want to create some custom field, we can actually have the double field. Okay. So if I choose some of the date field, then how the date field will display? It will actually show up that what you call that calendar option, like position entry. So if I choose, if I wanted to have a custom field also, and if I choose date as the type, it will actually show something like this. And string, it's like it will be an open text. Double also, it will be an open text where we can actually enter the number. Okay. So mm, so here, can you see all these objects like company, business unit, division, and etc.? So I have told wherever there is a drop down in the personal information, we have seen for some of the fields like marital status or a salutation, we have actually seen a drop down like this. Okay, so I have told those are a pick list. So this division and all, is it a pick list or is it something else? Because I am getting a drop down option here. So this is actually, so you can see company, business unit, division, department, and all these are, it is actually a predefined objects in the system. So that means whenever a success factor system is implemented, these are all objects. These are standard objects and pre-delivered objects. So this will be there in the system. So we don't need to configure anything. I mean, configure anything. I mean, the properties of this field, we don't need to configure. So if you actually look at this particular field in the job information, maybe business unit. So here I have not defined whether this field is an object or pick list, or I have not defined anything. So, but it is actually by this identifier, as this is a pre-delivered object in the system, it is actually coming as an object. But when I am creating some custom object, say for example, okay, so here you can actually see what are the options available, type of reference object. So this will be a pick, I can actually choose a pick list or a foundation object. So if I'm choosing some custom object, okay, if I'm choosing some, this is some custom object I have created. So if I'm creating some custom object, what I need to do is I have to select the foundation object as the type of reference object, and I need to give this what is that ID of that object. So we can find that object from configure object definition. I'll just show you that object. I'm not explaining
Sound is not audible.
It's not audible, sir.
गरीब भाई अस्सलाम वालेकुम। गरीब भाई आपका ऑडियो म्यूट हो गया अब।
Yes, I'm trying to unmute it. Just give me a second, please. Just give me a second, please.
Displaying, we can actually see the same thing in the pick list center. Yeah, so it's here only like we can actually add any new pick list, or we can modify the pick list existing ones we can do. Now we will actually try to create one field in the system. Maybe I'll create an job info. We'll try to create a custom field in the system. Okay, so I'm choosing. One more thing I wanted to show. So here I have told we have choose foundation object. So in case if we are creating any object, we'll have to use this foundation object. And in case if we are using any pick list, we'll have to choose this. So employee is nothing but suppose you must have seen in the job information, there is something called supervisor, right? Supervisor, how we can actually choose the employee from that field, correct? If we choose any employee, that their data will come up and we can choose. So if we have any requirement like, okay, I want to have a field like where the type is user, where I need to go and choose any user existing in the system. So in that case, I can actually use this employee as the type of a reference object. Yeah, so I will just create some field.
Margaret, can you show us one example of the pick list employee one?
Pick list employee.
Yeah. The type of reference object you have an employee, right? Can you showcase any one scenario like that?
Okay. Type employee. We'll just try to create one more field. Employee, I will choose the section as job info. Editable. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll create one more field, which is of string field, a normal string field. Custom string. See if that label is already there. Okay. So this also I will job info. And enabled. I'll keep this field as mandatory. So that means it should be a required field. Rest it, let it be. Okay. So I'm saving this. Okay. Yeah, it is saved. So it is saved, and you can see the IDs, the new fields which we have created. You can actually see it in the BCUI. And so soon after I add that fields, will it display here? Okay, let's see. Job information. As our field name, custom string field. No, it is not displaying here. Am I missing something?
Do we need to add the permission?
Yeah.
Yeah, permissions.
Yes. There we will go and add the permissions. In the manage permission role, we should select the respective permission. So this is system admin permission. So I'll go to system admin permission, the respective permission, and so in the permission, so this field, or where we have actually added this field in the job information, correct? So job information, so here you can actually see job information is an effective and dated entity, right? Based on the effective date, this will actually the value will be in place. So we should actually search for the employee central effective dated entities. And here you can see all those personal information. So down, you will see the job information related. Yeah, job information fields we can see. Okay, so which was our field? Okay, string field. I think I have had this 13 and 14 already, and it was the permission was already there. One second, we'll just give the permission for all. Yeah, here we can actually see that field, custom string field. But as I told earlier, that type employee field is not displaying. I don't know why that field is not displaying. Normally it should actually display. I mean, if we give the permission. Seems there is some issue with that type or something. I'll check it and I will let you know tomorrow what is happening with that field. Okay.
Ghani bhai,
And this,
Assalamualaikum.
the other one, the string field is actually displaying. Where is it?
Yes, Zubair.
Ghani bhai, the video is very much blurred. I'm receiving some comments from the students. Can you please recheck that?
Yeah, let me recheck it.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Ghani, this is Moin here. Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum salam rahmatullahi barakatuh.
Ghani, this video is it's completely blurred at our side.
Yeah,
But-
I've already conveyed to Ghani sir. Inshallah, he's going to fix that.
I just have one more concern. Are we going to play these videos throughout these sessions, or we have a different plan?
It's going to be a different plan, not like that one. For all these videos are going to be played.
Okay. Okay. Could you share us these video links for us? We'll download and we'll go through it.
Okay, Ghani Bhai will address this one. He's going to join us within a minute, inshallah.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dear students, there's a message from the Ghani sir saying that when the power cut is there, so he may not be able to join us right now. And inshallah, he's going to share the link of the video, what you were just asking for. So with this, we are ending up the session right now, and you'll be getting the link of the video very soon in the WhatsApp groups. Jazakallah khair. God bless you all. Stay blessed and have a peaceful night.